Welcome to Perfect Fit Closets. We have a closet build that we're going to be doing. We've got a plan view with a whole set of instructions. This is a great tool for all new designers and new dealers. We're going to follow this plan, and I'm going to videoize this plan so that if there's any instructions that don't seem to quite jive and don't understand, we have this video and we're going to follow these instructions to the T. On the right-hand side, I've got my plan. I have a primary closet that's got a left, center, and right wall. And below, I've got elevation 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to follow these instructions and let's go ahead and build a closet. On the left-hand side, we have our 2020 design platform. We're going to click on File, New, and we've got a new design or new ready to go. On the local browser, I've got my catalog. Select the appropriate cloud catalog according to your country, either the Canadian catalog or the US catalog. We'll choose the US catalog for this design. On the left-hand side, we are ready to go. And on the right with our PDF, we have our overview instructions. So the first set of instructions is we're going to set up our walls. Next, on number 2, we're going to create our elevations. 3, we're going to build our closet. 4, we're going to talk about changing our colors and profiles. 5 is our design info. 6 is setting and creating our plan view on PDF. 7 is our cost and sell report, so we can figure out our costs. 8 is our renders. 9, we can certainly add decorations as an option. And another thing on number 10 is our panoramic view, also optional. So let's go ahead and get started. With our overview instructions, we're going to do our wall setup, our top view. We're going to run clockwise and escape button when completed. We're going to go to our wall properties, deselect placement zones, and in our wall properties, we're also going to change the wall height to 98 inches. So without further ado, let's get started. We're going to hit our room layout tab, and on our continuous tab, we're going to click on single-sided. We're going to click on the continuous button, and now I've got a plus as my new cursor. We're going to go clockwise, just like the picture. We're going to left click once to get started. We're going to type in 32 on our keyboard, and now we're going to go up clockwise. Next is 100 inches for my elevation 1. Going to the right with my mouse, we're going to hit 120 for elevation 2, and down below 100.5 inches for elevation 3, and last but not least with our return wall is 30 inches. We're going to hit the enter button, and just like our overview instructions, we're going to hit on the escape button on our keyboard to finalize. Once we're all set in place, we're going to right click anywhere on the dark gray areas on our wall. We're going to left click our properties, and let's just move this over. First, we're going to deselect the placement zones for walls are not in use. So we know we're not going to be using the 32-inch return wall nor the 30-inch wall. So we're going to select wall 1. It's highlighted in green. We're going to left click the type tab and deselect the placement zone here. Next is going to go to wall number 5 and deselect the placement inside zone there. Click on apply. Last, on section number 1 is our wall properties. Wall height to 98 inches. We're going to click on our dimensions tab. We're going to select on wall group 1 so that everything is selected all at the same time. You can certainly select each wall individually, but let's click on wall group 1 and select everything and do everything all at once. The height in the dimensions tab is defaulted at 96 inches. We're going to delete this and type in 98 indicated by our plan. We're going to click on apply and OK. And now we have our walls ready to go. At this time, I love to save our design. I have it pre-programmed in 2020 that it auto-saves every 10 minutes. We're going to click on File, Save As, and I'll save this to my desktop for the time being. And let's label this as our PFC Master Closet. So we have PFC Master Closet Build as my naming convention. We're going to click on Save. And it's saved, ready to go. Number 2, for our overview instructions, we're going to create our elevation views and labels. We're going to Select our placement zone for elevation 1 for a 100-inch wall, and there's two ways to create your elevation view. Once it's selected, you can double click anywhere in this area to create your split screen and create your elevation. For our second wall, which is our 120-inch wall, we can select our placement zone, but in our room layout tab, we can select on add elevation. So again, one more time, we can double click here for our elevation 3, and now I have my 3 elevations. Let's go ahead and label these as indicated here. We're going to go to wall number 1. This is my 100-inch wall, and I'm going to double click the tab, and let's call this elevation 1. And now we're going to click the annotations tab and click on add notes, and you can make as many notes as you'd like. More notes, the better, in my opinion. That way, the client will know what's happening as well as the installer and yourself when you're editing. I'm going to go to EL2, double click, and type in elevation 2. And again, annotations, add notes, and all I'm doing is adding notes. So it's easier for me down the road. We work on a lot of our designs, and making as many notes as possible will be very beneficial for the designer. All right, now that I've kind of added all my notes, let's click on the save button. It's always great to click on the floppy disk and click on save whenever possible. Next, number 3 is we're going to build. See elevation notes. So let's go ahead, scroll down to page number 2. We have elevation 1, and let's go ahead to my 2020 designs and click on elevation 1. We're in elevation 1 on the bottom left-hand side, and we're going to move this split screen down below. We don't really need it just for the time being. And now we have a little more room to work with. We have on the instructions left tall module, first module build. So we're going to build this left module here. The instructions are modules. We're going to use a tall module, and we have the different heights, depths, widths, panels, and so forth. So let's go ahead and start one at a time. We're going to click on our categories, modules, and we've got our tall module here. There's two of them called tall module stretchable and tall module. We'll use the tall module stretchable on elevation 2. So let's click on our regular tall module, drag it into our elevation. As soon as we see our magnet, we're going to go to our farthest working left. We're going to let go of our mouse, and a new dialog box appears. We're going to right click on the illustration so we can see the textured lines, and it'll be a little bit easier just to see what we're doing. The height is defaulted at 83 and 15/16. We're going to click on the up button to go to 85 and 3/16. Next is depth is 14 inches. Let's go ahead and click on that here. Next is 14 inches. Opening one width. It was defaulted at 24 inches, but we want it to be 34 and 3/16. We're going to click on the opening one width drop down. We're going to left click custom, and a new field populates. Opening one custom width. Defaulted at 12 inches. And we're going to type in 34 space 13/16. We're going to left click anywhere in the gray area to save it. Next is panel on the left, panel on the right, fully drilled. Panels fully drilled as indicated. And we do want a top shelf, bottom shelf, and toe kick at 3 3/4. So we do want a bottom shelf, top shelf, toe kick, and defaulted at 3 3/4. We're going to click on OK. We're going to drag this to our farthest left. There's two ways that you can do this. You can manually move it with your mouse and cursor, and I can see the value on my placement zone set at 0 degrees. Or if I'd like, I can hit the back button. The cursor underneath value is blinking on the wall on the left-hand side, and we're going to type in 0, and we're going to click on Enter. And that's personally the way that I like to do it. I like to personally tell the program where I want to drop my modules or my parts. Next is we also have parts to add. So we can certainly do a couple things. One, we can add all our modules first and then add our parts, or we can do one module at a time. I highly recommend adding all your modules first, and then we can go back and add your parts thereafter. So let's go ahead and do that. Next is our right tall module. This is the second module build. The instructions are right here, and here are my tall module settings. So let's go ahead again, grab my tall module, drag it into my elevation view. I see my magnet, go to my farthest working left and let go of my mouse. Same thing will apply. We're going to right click the illustration. For our heights, we're going to go up one hole to 85 and 3/16. Next, on the plans, it says that we want it at 14-inch deep. Opening one width is going to be custom. So again, select the drop-down button, left click on custom, and again, it says 34 and 3/16. So 34 and 13/16. Oops. 34 space 13/16. Panel on left, as you can see here, panels, remove left panel because we're going to share it. What's great about our system is all our cabinet door and drawer fronts are half overlay. So therefore we can share our panels. Panel on the right is fully drilled. Here it says panel on the right half drilled. Now, if I make this one half drilled, I can now see that I've got a clean face on the outside with no line boring holes, but line boring holes on the inside. So this is great because obviously on our plans, this is going to be a clean face side. It's going to be exposed. So having this as a half drill panel is exactly what we wanted. And our plans now say that we do want a bottom shelf, top shelf, and toe kick at 3 3/4. We're going to click on OK. And now we're going to manually move it with our cursor. So we're, again, just moving it back and forth with my mouse. Go as far left as possible. And right here, I'm going to drop it in because we're going to share the panel. Left click, and we've dropped. We always want, as a rule of thumb, a minimum of 28-inch clearance to the next perpendicular wall. So I've got a 28 and a 1/16 of an inch here. This is great. And I have enough space. Again, we see notes, minimum 28-inch variance to perpendicular wall. Let's go ahead and click on the Save button, and let's work on elevation number 2. As a quick overview, this is what we've done so far. It's going to hover right in the middle, left click, drag, and now let's go to elevation 2. On my elevation 2, I have here instructions. So we have our middle tall module, first module build in order. So this is going to be the first module. Left tall module is going to be our second. Right tall module is going to be our third. And right here is our middle fourth build. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to do the middle tall module, 19 inches deep. Instructions, height is 34 3/16, depth 19, width 36. Panels, half drilled on left and right. So we're going to have a clean face on both left and right sections here. And we do want a top shelf, bottom shelf, and a toe kick at 3 3/4. We're going to left click our tall module, drag it into our elevation, go to my farthest working left, and drop our module. Right click the illustration, and now we're going to go all the way down to 34 and 13/16. Perfect. Next is our opening depth. We're changing this to 19 inches deep. So it looks like here that we have everything at 14 inches deep with the exception of our drawer bank. The drawer bank is going to be 19 inches deep. So we're going to click our opening depth to be 19 inches deep. Opening one width, according to our plan, is 36 inches wide. And the panel on the left and panel on the right, we're going to make this one half drilled on both sides. We want a clean face because this is going to be a bumped out drawer bank. We do want top shelf, toe kick, and 3 3/4. We're going to click on OK, and we're going to drop it in. So this is floating. It's up high, so let's go ahead and drop it down. We're going to right click on our module, click on our up and down, and in our placement zone, we want this to be 0 inches to the bottom. We'll type in 0 and enter, and I'm at the bottom. The next, it says here, right-click tall module, right and left panel individually, PNL-R and PNL-L. Features and options, we're going to change the thickness from 3/4 inches thick to 1.5 inches thick. So let's go ahead and follow the plan. We're going to first right-click, and if it still says T module, the easiest thing to do is deselect what you've currently selected. Let's start from scratch. So we're going to left-click off screen. Nothing is selected. Now we can go back and we can right click our PNL-R. That means panel on the right. So we're not selecting the T module. We just want the individual panel itself. We're going to go to our features and options as indicated in our PDF. And now in our option code, we're going to change it from 34 or 3/4 to 15 or 1.5. Select the drop-down button, select 1.5. We're going to click on OK. And now what's fantastic about our program is that we can produce 1.5-inch thick panels, tops, and whatever you desire. We'll do the same thing on the left-hand side. Right-click PNLL, go to Features and Options. Features and Options opens up. It's currently selected, and we're going to change it from 3/4 to 1.5 inches thick. This is purely for aesthetics. Now that we have this in place, Features and Options, thickness. And now it says to center the tall module. All right, so let's go ahead and center the tall module. To center it, we're going to right-click on our T-mod and left-click Center. I've got a new plus button, and I'm going to go ahead and go into my placement zone. I'm going to select anywhere inside my placement zone and double-click. And now I have a drawer bank that is centered. Let's pull this down ever so slightly. I know that it's centered. I have 40.5 on the left and right side. And then we just have parts. Next is second module build. We're going to build a left tall module stretchable. And we also want a 1-inch variance on the left-hand side here, it says. We're going to change the height to 85 3/16, 14 inches deep. Panels fully drilled. So that's both left and right. Top shelf, bottom shelf, and toe kick. And we're going to drop this 1 inch to the left. I'm going to repeat that one more time. We're going to drop 1 inches to the left as our placement. So let's go ahead and click on our tall module stretchable. We're going to drag into our elevation. I see my magnet go to my farthest working left. Now that it's dropped, we're going to right-click the illustration and follow the plan. We're going to go up to 85 3/16, opening depth at 14, panel on left and right, both fully drilled. We want a bottom shelf, top shelf, and toe kick at 3 3/4. We're going to select OK. And as indicated in our plan, we want to have this 1 inch to the wall to the left here. So I'll grab my annotate so everyone can see. Wall left. So we're going to delete the wall left, and we're going to type in 1 for 1 inch. Now we're going to hit enter on the keyboard, and now I'm exactly 1 inch. If I right click here, I can move my 1 inch annotate down. Now I have 1 inch area here. If I follow the plan, it says right click module and resize to the right. So now we can go ahead and right click on our T-mod, and we have resize width. This only works for any modules that say stretchable. We only use stretchable modules when we want to fill in gaps, and that's what I recommend. Otherwise, if you're not filling in gaps, use the regular wall modules, tall modules, stackable modules, and give it the exact size that it needs. We're going to left click resize width, and we're going to resize the width to the right as indicated by our plan, and we're going to connect. And then we have parts to add. So let's go ahead to our right tall module, stretchable. This is our third module, and we'll do the exact same thing, with the exception is right here, clearance on the right instead of placement. Instead of instead of dropping 1 inch to the left placement, we're going to give a clearance on the right of 1 inch. So we're going to grab our tall module stretchable, drag it into my elevation. As soon as I see my magnet, go to my farthest working left, drop in my module. We're going to right click the illustration, go up to 85 3/16, and clearance on the right. We want 1 inch. We're going to delete the 0, type in 1. Our panels are going to be fully drilled. Bottom shelf, top shelf, and toe kick. We're going to click on OK. And take a look at this. We're going to go to my farthest left, drop the module, left click once. Now we're going to go to my farthest right. And because we indicated to our attributes that we want a 1 inch variance, you can see that it does not go past the 1 inch clearance that we desired it to be. We're going to go as far right as possible, drop, and now we have a 1 inch variance, like so. And next we have parts to add. So we'll do that afterwards. And then fourth build is just parts. So we're going to build these parts thereafter. We're going to click on the floppy disk and save. And now we're going to go to our elevation 3. And now we have 3 modules to build. It says here, the left tall module, first module build. We've got the second build, and then we have the third build. So let's go ahead and type in the 15, 7, 16-inch module first, then the 30, then the 24. Go to elevation 3. And let's go ahead and grab our tall module, drag it into our elevation. We see our magnet, go to my farthest working left. And I'm right-click the illustration. We're going to go up to 85 3/16. Opening one width is going to be 15 7/16 inch. All fully drilled at 14 inches. We do one top shelf, bottom shelf, and a toe kick. Go to my farthest working right, or type into my wall right 0 inches and enter. Do the same thing 2 more times. Tall module, drag and drop. See my magnet, drop it to my farthest working left, and always dropping it to my farthest working left. Go up to 85 3/16, and it says here, for my second module, panel on the right. Remove the right panel because it's going to be shared. So we're going to remove the panel on the right. We're going to click on OK, and drag it and attach it. And we are sharing the panels. Left click tall module for our third build. Go to my farthest left. I see my magnet, let go of my mouse, and the exact same thing. Right click the illustration, click on the up button to 85 3/16, and this is going to be 24 inches. Oh, my apologies. It looks like here, this is supposed to be 30 inches. So let's go ahead, drag this over, and we're going to change this to 30 inches. My apologies. And the next one's going to be 24. So we're going to left click on our variables. Once a module is dropped, we could always right click on the module, go into our variables, and change the attributes. So now I've gone to my variables. Opening one width is 30 inches. We're going to click on OK. And now I've got a 30-inch module. We'll right click and left click drag and reattach this. If you took a look, I dragged it over, resized the width, and then reattached it. If I resized it where it was, it'll give me a collision because it's going to be interfering with the module to the right. Now we can click on our tall module, drag and drop, farthest working left. I see my magnet, and this one's going to be 24 inches. Go up to 85 3/16, 24 inches. Panel left is going to be fully drilled according to our plans, and panel on the right, we're going to remove the panel. We're going to click on OK and drop it in. So I've got a half drilled panel 2 times, one in elevation 1 and one in elevation 2. This is a great time to add my notes. Panel half drilled. It's always great to keep all the panels fully drilled, and we can always label and advise the installer as well as the customer that this section is going to be half drilled. So all fully drilled with the exception of this panel, and on elevation 1, the exact same thing. Panel half drilled, click on OK, and we're just going to go ahead and make a note. We're going to click on the annotations line button, and we're going to let everybody know. Right click the line, left click on edit, and we're going to click on an arrow, tail arrow. And now I've got an arrow indicating that this panel is half drilled. Always great to do notes. At this time, we're going to click on save. And if we go back to our plans, it says here that we're going to keep on building. So let's go ahead and build some more. So let's go back to elevation 1. Now we're going to add all the parts to add. So elevation 1, in our parts, we're going to click on our categories and select parts. Parts, I've got several different categories and part list down below here. So first module build, it says here parts to add, cleats, and then slanted shoe shelves. We're going to go ahead and grab our cleat, connect to fixed shelf, drag and drop it like so. Next is slanted shoe shelves. So let's go ahead to our shelving section and click on slanted shoe shelf. What's great about this is it's already slanted, ready to go, and it already comes with the shoe fence. So we're going to drag, I see my magnet, and drop. And now I'm going to grab my annotations line to line. I've got a new plus button as my cursor, and we're going to zoom in, and from the bottom of the top shelf to the bottom of the slanted shoe shelf, I have 12 and it's 7/16. So that's my clearance for the height of the shoes. So the plan says 8 and 11/16. So we're going to go up one hole. Now I have 8 and 11/16. So we're going to do that 7 times. That's 1, 2, To make things easier, we could also create a hotkey, which is going to be really cool. If I touch one key, which is my F2 key, I can go ahead and have my annotation button ready to go. So to do that, let's show you how. At the very top, I have above my presentation tab, customize quick access toolbar. It's got a dash and a triangle pointed downwards. We're going to click on more commands, click on keyboard shortcuts, customize. Under categories, we're going to click annotations, and under commands, we're going to find line to line dimension. We're going to left click, press new shortcut key. Well, I know my F buttons don't do anything for 2020. So I'm going to select F2. I'm going to type in F2 on my keyboard. We're going to click on assign and close. So now my F2 button on my keyboard should do that. It's not currently set up. Something is wrong with my 2020. Oh, I know why, because I am doing a Zoom meeting. But otherwise, if I'm not doing a Zoom meeting, my F buttons will exactly work. And let's go ahead and give that a try here real quick here. Try that one more time. More commands. Customize the quick access toolbar, annotations, and line to line. We want the F2 button. We'll click on assign, close, and OK. And now it works. All right, so slanted shoe shelves. This is going to be the fourth one. And drop it in. Slanted shoe shelf for the fifth and drop. And again, I'm typing in my F2 button. I've got my quick hotkey. To move this up and down, here is a tip for you. To move things up and down, select the item first that you want. If it's not selected on your first or second try, you can always left click off screen. So anywhere to deselect and select it again. I know it's selected because I can see the highlights in green. I can left click once and move it up. Drop it in again, drop, annotate. Left click once, go up 2 holes, and I'm ready to go. And last but not least, I'm going to go up one more. And you can see we have exactly mimicked the entire first module. So we've added cleat and slanted shoe shelves 7 times. Let's go on to the next section. Next section here is we have parts to add. We want cleat, fixed shelf, closet rod, and we have an accessory. We have a valet rod left pull out located right here. So we'll go back to our parts, cleats, drop. Oop, try that again. Left click, cleat, and left click to drop. We're going to grab a shelf, shelf fixed, and we're going to drop it. So it looks like here we want a 16-inch space. So we're going to type in 16. Perfect. I was bang on. And we can go to our categories, accessories, rods, and we want a closet rod. Closet rod. The default is always going to be oval chrome, and any parts and pieces of wooden core material, it's all going to be dictated in white. And we can always change that at the very end. Very top of the rod to the very bottom should be 60 inches. The average closet rod for a long hang for dresses and 3/4 inch coats is going to be 60 inches. Please do connect with your client. Double check the shoe heights as well as the shirt sizes. Some are taller, some are shorter, whatever the client is. Last but not least is we're going to add a closet valet rod to the left. To do that, let's zoom out ever so slightly. We're going to click on our accessories. We're going to go to our pullouts. In our pullouts, we're going to scroll all the way down until we see closet rod left. We see here valet rod left. Left click, drag it in. I see my magnet. We're going to let go my mouse and we're going to drop it. And we want to drop this 49 and 13/16. And this is variable. We can always move it up and down. Okay, we're going to go to the very bottom of the valet rod to the very bottom. And see where I annotated right there? I've got an extra line here. To move this line, here's a tip. Right click on the annotated line, go to user dimensions, unknown dimensions of 53 and 5/8. We're going to go left extended line. If I left click once, the bottom is extending the line. So it's already disappeared. It's already short. We're going to right click the line again and go to right extended line. Left click once and take a look. I can extend the line like so. We're going to put it right about here and drop it. Now we're going to left click the valet rod and drop it down to about 49 and 13/16. Perfect. So we're all set to go. Elevation 1 is all done. We're going to click on the save and let's work on elevation 2. Once that's all done saving, click on elevation 2. All right, so we got the first build. Let's go back to the first build. It looks like here for parts to add, we're going to add a 1.5 inch thickness top with a 1 inch front overhang. So let's click on our categories, parts, scroll all the way down to our tops, drag and drop. I see my magnet. And a new dialog box appears. It says here, reminder to extend the sides needed. After placing the top found inside variables, default is front 1. So this is a little note for everyone. Click on OK, and we're going to drop it. Tops or countertops will always connect to the very top of a module. So this was a regular tall module. We just resized the height and dropped it in at the very top. If I right click on the top itself and left click on attributes, we can see in our variables tab that we have an overhang front of 1 inch, 0 back overhang, 0 left overhang, and 0 right overhang. I can always extend it. This is great for dressers, especially if you have an actual length. However, with this section here, it's a drawer bank. We actually have tall modules on the left and right, so we don't want to overhang on the left and right, just in the front. And it's already defaulted to 1 inch, so we can leave it alone. We'll left click on OK and leave that alone. Next, we're going to add drawers. We're going to add an 8 drawer and 2 12s. So let's go ahead and work from top to bottom or bottom to top. Click on categories, parts, drawers. We're going to click on our 8, drop it in. I see my magnet, let go of my mouse. Here is a pro tip for everyone. When I drag and drop, I always drag and drop in the middle of the module. And I never want to drag this right on top of a panel. It will freeze the program. So please, whenever you're dragging and dropping, do not drop it right here on the panel or on another part. Drag it right in the middle of a module and let go. And now we've dropped. So now we have our drawer bank. Next is our second module. We're going to add a cleat, closet rod, fixed shelf, and another closet rod just to the left. So we're going to go from the top to the very bottom. Cleat, closet rod, fixed shelf, closet rod. Here's a quick note for everyone. It says parts. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Right here. Sorry, the note. Note, hanging rods and cleats may hide behind one another, and that's okay. Sometimes we find that the closet rod is in front of the cleat, and sometimes they're behind the cleat. The cleat is always 0 inches, so it's connected right to the back wall. But sometimes just on the elevation view, it may populate one or the other in front of each other, but it is there. We could always confirm this in our renders. So let's go ahead, top to bottom. Let's click on our parts. We're going to click on our shelves. My apologies. It looks like cleat first. So let's left click cleat, drag and drop. We can now click on our categories, accessories, rods. We want a closet rod. We're dragging a drop. And we'll annotate real quick here. It's 8.5 inches. I'm going to move that up to 2 3/16. Next is we want our categories, parts, shelves. We wanted a shelf fixed, drag and drop. We don't know where that's going, so let's drop it in there. And last but not least, we'll go back to accessories. So we can certainly add all the closet rods and all the fixed shelves first, but for this homework, we're going to show you where to find everything from scratch, and we're going to build it according to plan. So we want from the very top of the closet rod to the very bottom, and inside to inside, and top of the closet rod to the very bottom. And we're going to go ahead and respace this out. So again, I am left clicking to holding it down, and now left click and holding it down to drag and drop. And exactly what the plan desired, 37, 37, 2 and 2. Next is our right module, which is our third module build. We're going to do the exact same thing. This time we're going to do it a little faster. we're going to click on our categories, parts, cleats, drag and drop cleats. We do need one shelf fixed. We're going to drag and drop. And we do need to go to our categories, accessories, rods. We know that the first closet rod is going to be somewhere there and another closet rod there. We're going to grab our annotate it like so. Once it's all fully annotated, it'll be easier for us to move it as we go along. So we know that the top closet rod is 2 holes from the very top. We do know that this is going to be 37 inches. And it's nice and easy for us, and we're all done. Next is the middle, fourth build. In our parts, we have a shelf fixed, cleats, and 2 adjustable shelves. So let's go ahead, zoom on out on our plan. And let's go ahead into our categories, parts, shelves, shelf fixed, drag and drop. And we're going to connect it between the 2 modules. So we don't really need another module in place. We just needed to use parts. Grab 2 adjustable shelves. And now we go back to our parts and we wanted 1 cleat like so. So let's go ahead and annotate once again. Oh, and there it is. There's my autosave. Let's go ahead and drag and drop. Oops. And annotate. The first one's going to be 15 and a quarter. And the next 2 is going to be split between 15 and 5/8 and 15 and 3/4. Perfect. Now I can go ahead and click on my annotate and create all the necessary items that I'm going to need. More is better than less. And it does take a little bit of time and practice on exactly what you want to actually annotate and show the client. You can use their zoom feature to get the exact precision and pinpoint what you want your client to see. Those are my drawer fronts, and these are my drawer box heights within the perforated lines. As you can see, I'm always left clicking, make sure it's highlighted, and then I can left click again to move. Let's go ahead and click on our annotate. We're going to go with the very top shelf. So this is my ceiling height. I've got a clearance of 12 and 13/16. And from the very top to the very bottom, we've got our annotate like so. We'll zoom in and make it so that it is perfect. Next is parts. Filler here. Note, it may appear as a collision in red or may not show at all on the elevation. See top view to confirm filler has been inserted. So let's go ahead and zoom on out. We can click on this zoom to fit button. We're going to go into our parts and scroll all the way to the very bottom to fillers. We're going to left click our filler, drag and drop. I see my magnet, let go of my mouse, and we're going to keep moving. We're going to add 1 filler here, and it has disappeared. We're going to grab another filler, drag and drop. I see my magnet, and drop it to the right. Now they both disappeared. Now, according to this note, it says fillers may disappear or may be as a collision. So let's go to my top view and let's confirm that it's present. We can see on my top view, I've got a filler located here. And on the right side, I've got a filler here. We can right click, go to filler, and look at our attributes. All fillers, F-I-L-L, will always come with the same height of whatever the module is in place and will always be 3 inches. We want to make a minimum of a 1-inch variance and add a filler because it's very hard for the installer to cut a filler that's less than 1 inch. We clicked on OK, so we've confirmed we have our fillers, and now we can certainly make our notes and indicate that we've got fillers on the side. So we could just make a note, 3-inch fillers on the left and right. And we're going to select on OK. Now that that's all said and done, we're going to click on the left floppy disk and save. Now that we're all done with elevation 2, let's work on our last elevation, elevation 3. Let's left click elevation 3 and scroll down to elevation 3 page. First build is going to be from left to right or right to left, and it really doesn't matter. So let's work on from left to right. So we have here a cleat closet rod. We've got a scarf rack pullout, tie rack pullout. We've got a jewelry tray and a pant rack pullout indicated right here at the very bottom. So let's work from top to bottom. Now there's a little bit of a curveball when dealing with this jewelry tray. So let's go ahead and get started. So we can click on our parts, cleats, and here's a tip. So for elevation 1 and 2, we built it module at a time. Now that we've done it modules at a time, let's see if we can build this a little faster, and maybe we can try to build all the parts with all 3 modules at the same time. Using our annotate button and our quick hotkey button, we can probably do this very fast. If we click on our parts, we have our cleats. We can left click cleat, drag it in. We see our elevation or our magnet and drop it in. And we can do it 2 more times because we know that we're eventually going to do this. And instead of going back, we can certainly do that. We have 2 accessories, scarf rack pull out to the right. We click on our categories, accessories, pullouts, and now we have our scarf rack, and that's to the left, but we want it to the right. We're going to drop it in just like so, and we want a tie rack. And there's my autosave, which is fantastic, just in case something happens to our computer program. And now we're going to annotate the very bottom, and this is set at 65 inches. And we want this to be at 70 and 15/16 according to the designer. All right. And now we're at 70, 15/16. Again, we're going to right click on the annotate, and we're going to go left extended line and right extended line to move the line ever so slightly if we wish, to make it a little bit cleaner than what we have here. Next, we want a closet rod, accessories, rods, closet rod, drag and drop, and we're going to drop it right here and annotate. Delete, that's the wrong annotate. Again, that's the wrong annotate. And let's try that one more time. Left click to highlight, move it up, 2 holes down. Now, the reason why there's 2 holes down is we have it set at 2 and 3/16. If we move it up to 1 hole as a variance, we only have 15/16. Depending on your closet rod hook, it could be greater, could be bigger, smaller. I always like personally to have 2 holes down to give your client a little bit of extra space. Now that's done, we're going to add a fixed shelf, categories, parts, shelves, shelf fixed, and drop. We want this to be 39 and 7/8. So we're going to go ahead and click on 39 and 7/8 and drop it down. 1 more hole. Now we're set. Next, we have to add our jewelry tray. So jewelry tray 24 needs fixed shelf first to drop. So what we need to do first is take our shelf fix, drop it in. A jewelry tray will not attach itself unless it sees a fixed shelf. So we're going to add just a regular random fixed shelf here. We don't know the exact location. Now we're going to click on our parts, our drawers, and we're going to scroll all the way down under our drawers to jewelry tray. We move this ever so slightly. It's a 6-inch tilt down, and it needs a fixed shelf. So if I left click, I drag and drop this, I see my magnet. We're going to go in the middle of the module. And now it attaches to any fixed shelf. It could attach to the very bottom, this fixed shelf, or this fixed shelf. So we want this fixed shelf. We're going to drag and drop. It's attached to itself, but there's a little bit of a gap. So we're going to left click off screen, and we're going to left click the fixed shelf and move that up ever so slightly. And now jewelry tray comes with it. I'm going to keep going until we're at half overlay for our horizontals. We're all at a half overlay. We can quickly annotate while we're here if we wish. And now we have our jewelry tray, and we can certainly make notes saying that this is our jewelry tray. With our drop down front. We can certainly annotate. If your annotations and notes are a little bit too long and too difficult to see, what we could do, fit to screen, fit to screen. What we could do is change the annotations. We can right click on the note, left click our display settings, and in our font, we'll change it to a size 5. We'll click on OK, OK. Now we've got a smaller note here. We can click on our line button. And again, you can do this now, you can do this later. And we're just going to do this now while it's still fresh in our minds. And the same thing here, we've got our scarf rack pullout. And we also have our tie rack pullout. So now that we've got our notes, we can certainly right click the note, left click display settings, and we're going to go into our fonts and we're going to resize it to 5. We'll click on OK. And the same thing with our scarf rack. Right click the display settings, go into our font and change. Pardon me. All right, so now we're going to click on our font, change the 5. We'll click on apply and OK. And now I've got my 2 notes, and now I can certainly add my lines. Right click the line, left click on edit, and add my tail arrow. All right, now that that's done, we're going to keep on moving ahead. We got everything labeled as we go and makes things again a lot easier. Next, we want a pant rack pullout. We're going to click on our accessories. We're going to go into our pullouts and we want our pant rack pullout. So we got our pant rack pullout. We can see in our information tab what it's going to look like. And left click and drag and drop. Once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go and drop it in. Again, I'm going to zoom in with my scrolling feature and annotate as I go. And just like what it says here, we're going to add a note. Left click once and type in pant rack pull out. Click on OK. And again, I can right click on the note, go to my display settings, and certainly change the font size just to make it a bit easier. We're working with tight spaces. All right, moving ahead, we're going to click on the next 2 sections here. We want some fixed shelves, adjustable shelves, and we want a laundry hamper. So let's type in this laundry hamper pullout first. We're already here in our laundry hamper pullout. Laundry hamper pullouts and pant rack pullouts only work for modules that are set at 18, 24, and 30. If I try to type it into our 15-inch section, it won't work. So if I drag and drop our laundry hamper, we can drag and drop. It works no problem, but see, it won't drag and drop to our 15-inch section. Here, there's not enough space because obviously it's all populated, but it will work for a 24-inch section. We're going to go ahead and drag and drop. And next is we need an adjustable shelf. We'll go to our categories, parts, shelves. We wanted a fixed shelf somewhere here in the middle. Again, according to my plan, another adjustable shelf like so. And we wanted 2 more adjustable shelves here. And while we're here, it looks like here we need an adjustable shelf like so, and another fixed shelf roughly around there. So let's go ahead and follow our plans. And again, just using my hotkey button and makes things just a little bit faster. Left click once to highlight and left click again to drag and drop it. We want that at 14, next is at 13, next is at 13, so that's great. Next, we want a 10-inch space roughly. Left click once to highlight and now drag and drop. And now I can annotate properly here. I'm going to go into my notes and let everybody know that this is my laundry hamper pullout. Now that's said and done, right click the illustration, go to my display settings, go to my fonts, and type in 5, size 5. And right here, the easiest thing to do whenever I'm working with shelving units, easiest thing to do if I didn't have these notes, I would go ahead and find what the center is first. So if I go ahead and find the center, left click once, drop it down once, and now I know that this is centered. Now I can left click the annotates and delete the section, and now I can go ahead and add my fixed shelves. Whenever you have a shelving tower, it's always best to have an odd number just so that it's easier for you to actually center everything. Now that's all done, we're going to add a door. We're going to click on our categories, parts, doors, and we want a door connect between fixed shelves. Select C door, connect between fixed shelves. I got a fixed shelf here and a fixed shelf in the middle. I see my magnet. I'm right in the middle of the module, and I'm going to drag and drop and left click once to drop it in. Now that's all said and done, we're going to just double check all our annotates. We want the actual ceiling heights to the top shelf and top shelf all the way to the very bottom. And we're just going ahead and moving and placing where everything's desired. Go to elevation 2, looks like everything's done. And elevation 1, we are just missing a couple annotates, but otherwise we are all done with our elevations. Now that we're all done, we're going to click on our floppy disk and save. So we've got everything down pat. Let's go back to tab 1 or page 1. We've built our, now we're going to change our colors and profiles now that everything is said and done. As a quick preview, we can click on our perspective button. And in our perspective button, we can see that everything is detailed in TFL1 white and all our accessories are situated in chrome. Pretty simple build. Once the modules are all done, you've done the math calculations between the 3/4 inch panels and the variances, everything is just drag and drop. Let's get out of our perspective view. We're going to change the colors and profiles. We're going to go to our features and options. And let's go ahead and take care of that. To go in there, we're going to click on our items tab. And if I just make this a bit bigger here, we can see that in our items tab, we have our features and options. It's the paint board for the paintbrush. I'm going to left click once. What's really cool about these features and options is that you could individually select something and change it. So we can click on the plus button and we can individually change any item that we wish. Behind the actual dialog box, we can see in green that ever so slightly closet rods are now selected. If I selected one cleat is selected, or I can select on the very top row where it says PFC US, or for Canada, it's going to say PFC Canada for our Canadian dealers. Now everything is selected. Everything's highlighted in green. Now in our dialog box, we can go from the very top to the very bottom. This process may take a little bit of time. The program is going to think. I highly advise when you're in features and options, let the program think, let it do its changes, and then move on to the next row. The larger the design, the longer it's going to take. So please have some patience, especially if this is a large design. So let's go ahead to our top row. It says slides option drawers. It's currently selected as undermount soft close slides as our default, or I can change it to side mount soft close. We're going to keep it at undermount soft close slides. And now we can change the finish colors and structures. If we go back to our plans, it says here in our plans that we want this to be TFL level 2 fashionista. We want everything to be all in chrome. We want the drawer boxes to be unassembled. We want 5-piece shaker, 90 degrees, 120-inch stainless steel, and we're going to go find that number. Drawer front profiles are the exact same, 90 degree or 90 the shaker. And we have our oval chrome rods. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have our closet structure, drawers, doors, and everything in between. For our closet structure, we can left click our TFL1 and we have several subcategories or parent companies or parent categories, I should say. We want TFL level 2. In TFL level 2, there's going to be more colors. We could always refer back to our dealer portal. Our dealer portal is going to be where we're going to find everything. If I go into our website, perfectfitclosets.com, left click on our dealer portal, and let's go ahead and log in, and I'll show you where to find everything. This should always be in your back pocket so that you could always refer to it in case you're curious about something. What I always refer to are two sections. I always refer to our training section and in our software training, or I can go to product overview and left click on our closet components and garage components. In here, I can click on our colors offered. And now I can find TFL level 1, level 2, and all the colors associated with that particular parent category. While it's auto-saving, we'll give it a second to think, and we'll get back right into it. And it's just going ahead and thinking there. And while it's thinking there, let's go ahead and move this over. And we're going to be referring to this here in just a moment, one more time here. We're going to follow the overview instructions here. All right, now that TFL level 2 is situated there, the plan said to go to Fashionista. And again, we're letting the program think. It's doing the entirety of all the closet colors there. And sometimes if the features and options dialog box go to the back, it's currently auto-saving. So leave it alone, let the program think, and then we'll get right back to it. I just finished auto-saving. And again, autosave is a great feature. In the event that there's a malfunction with the computer software program, it has auto-saved it and recovered as best as possible so you don't lose your work. We have already saved this right before our features and options, which is fantastic. And we can always refer back to it in case there's any challenges. All right, now that the closet finish structure, TFL level 2, is in Fashionista, we can click on our closet rods and finishes. It called for oval chrome rod as our default, but here we can see that we can select round rod chrome, round rod aluminum, and so forth. Next is our drawer front profile, select as EUR. They wanted, in our plans, to be a 90-degree shaker, 905 PS. Well, I know, according to my plans here, that it doesn't come in TFL level 1 white. I could always go to my product overview, go to closet components and garage components, select on door and drawer profiles, and if I select my 5-piece, I already have here in our TFL 90 direct match at TFL level 2 onwards. So it doesn't happen in TFL level 1. So to change this and to get my TFL or my Poly 45 away and have my 90-degree 5-piece shaker, I have to first select a different color. So let's go ahead and select TFL level 2 Fashionista. We'll let the program know that we're changing the color, then we could change the actual front profile. Now that it's selected TFL level 2, let's go back to EUR, and now we have the 95 PS for our shaker. That's exactly what we want. Left click once. Drawer front profiles are now going to be changed from Euro flat front to our 5-piece 90. And for our color, we're going to select Fashionista. And for our drawer handles, they want 128 millimeters in stainless steel. So we're going to select our pull option, defaulted as a no handles. We scroll all the way. We wanted the 155-01-460. We're going to left click once, and let's double check our drawer settings. Drawer front profile is going to be our 95-piece shaker. Pull option, 128 millimeter stainless steel, TFL level 2, and in Fashionista. The next line item is our accessory finish. It indicated that we wanted everything to be in polished chrome, such as our valet rods, scarf racks, and so forth. We're going to keep it as is. Door front profile, same thing again. If I click on this, there is no 90-degree. It's only the poly 45. So let's go and do the exact same thing. We're going to change the color first to our TFL level 2. And once that's done, we can then change the profile to our TFL 90 5P shaker. Once that's all done, we can now select the handle, scroll down. There's my 128 millimeter stainless steel D handle pull. And now we're going to go ahead and finalize the color. TFL level 2, defaulted in Free Spirit, and we're now going to change this to Fashionista. So we got Fashionista for the closet finish structure. We've got it for the drawer front profile. We got it for the door front profile. And next down below, we have our 3/4-inch melamine drawer boxes. So the melamine drawer boxes, if you want to save a couple bucks for your client, you can keep it all in white, or we can change it to level 2 and keep it all one and the same color. So that's what the plan asks us to do, and we'll go ahead and change that color now. We'll change it from Free Spirit over down to Fashionista. And we're all done our features and options. So that just took a couple minutes. If we scroll down, I never change anything that says edge banding left, edge banding right, edge banding top or bottom. We leave it alone, leave it as default. But the one thing that I want to point out is this one section here called drawer assembled. They're currently unassembled. For a nominal fee, we can assemble your 5-piece drawer boxes at the facility. However, that will increase the volume for your freight. Therefore, your freight is going to increase, but we've pre-assembled this for you. Or you can keep it unassembled as defaulted, and you can assemble it yourselves. This is what the actual 5-piece drawer box looks like. If I go into my dealer portal, we can scroll down to our product overview, click on our closet components and garage components, scroll down to our drawer boxes, and we can choose our unassembled drawer boxes here. We can see this is what it looks like, and it requires 12 dowels that are pre-glued. We've already pre-drilled the holes for you. What's really cool about our facility, it's not indicated in this picture, but we will actually put the dowels already in place to where the hole matches, and then you put them together, and it only takes a few minutes to assemble them together. Just a personal opinion, we always prefer to have it all flat packed to kind of save costs for shipping. Again, it's really up to you and your installer. But that is the option for the assembled or unassembled. We're going to keep it not assembled for the time being. We're going to click on OK, and we're going to keep moving on. We're going to let that think just for a quick minute. We're going to save all the changes, and now we're going to go into our perspective view to double check that it saved all our changes. Now we're in their perspective view, and that's populating like so. And we'll let that think. And now everything's all in TFL level 2 Fashionista, and all our accessories are in chrome, and closet rods are in oval chrome rods. Perfect. Now that's done. We're going to get out our perspective view and click on the floppy disk and save. Once that's saved, let's go ahead and follow the rest of the instructions in the plans. Without talking too much and building this on my own, this should roughly take anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes. Doesn't take long at all. We're just dragging and dropping all the modules and parts. And let's minimize this. And we want our plan. All right. Now that we've changed the colors and profiles, we're going to go to our design info. It says right here in our design info. We're going to click on the Home tab, Design Info, and we got a few mandatory fields. We've got to type in the customer's first name, last name, the company name, so that's the dealer name, the designer name, and the project ID. These are the minimum fields that are required from our CNC machine. Our CNC machine and our software program requires those initial fields before we can actually proceed. So this is a mandatory item that must be filled for every project that needs to be submitted. I always like to do it first. So let's go ahead and click on our Home tab. Let's left click our Design Info. A new dialog box appears. And again, I got 4 tabs: Customer, Address, Dealer, and Design. So let's left click on our customer. We're going to type in a first name. Let's just call this Bob Smith, as indicated like so. Next is going to be a company name. We don't need to fill in the address. Let's go right to our dealer tab. We'll just type in our dealer. Let's call this Flows Closets and Design. So let's pretend a fictitious name. We're going to call it Flows Closets and Design. Last but not least, we have our design tab. We got to type in the designer name. My name is Sherwin Keeley. So let's go ahead and type in my designer name. So we could always refer back who the designer was, and the project ID. This is probably one of the most important fields that we have. Every single one of these parts and pieces that we're going to cut and provide for you is going to say whatever is in this field. So we're going to call it, let's say, master or primary closet. Now, all my pieces are going to say master/primary. I know that we're in the new age here, so let's just call it primary. If you have 7 closets in one house, please make sure that you label them accordingly. Guest bedroom 1, guest bedroom 2. We've got primary closet, walk-in closet, reach-in closets, Bob's closets, and so forth. So now that the 5 fields are done, we're going to left click on OK. And let's click on number 6. Number 6 says PDF Plan View, Microsoft Print a PDF. So we're pretty close to printing this out, but the one thing that we actually did miss, because we've added all our annotations, is that we didn't have any annotations deleted or added or any notes on the top view. We did it for the elevation views, but let's go ahead and clean this up. This doesn't really look good to present to your client, so let's go ahead and delete these annotations. 2020 is smart enough that adds all these line-to-line annotations, but we got to clean this up. Here's the fastest way to clean up the annotations. We can left-click and individually select something, but let's select the entirety of the line and delete it or hide it. So we want almost everything deleted. So we're going to right-click anywhere on this line here, and we're going to auto-dim the very last section, and we're going to left-click hide. It hid the entirety of that line. Right-click the line, go to the very bottom to auto-hide, and hide. Right-click, auto-dim, hide. Let's go to elevation 3. Right-click, auto-dim the very bottom, and hide. Right-click, auto-dim, hide. Right-click, auto-dim, hide. And let's just move that over just so that we can see these notes a bit better. Right-click, auto-dim, hide. Right-click, auto-dim, hide. And one more time, and we are all done. So we can certainly add as many notes to this as possible, as many annotations as possible. Let's grab an annotation here because we don't know the depth of the section is. So again, I'm just pressing my hotkey and moving this along. I know that this is going to be my countertop here. This is probably going to be 20 inches with a 19-inch deep section. And that's not what we want. So let's try this again. Zoom in a little bit closer. And drop that in. It should be 19 inches. And let's go ahead and left extended line and right extended line. All right, perfect. So now that we have that, we can certainly add our notes. Let's go ahead and add our notes. We're just going to copy the notes that we already have. Every designer is a little bit different on their notes. So let's go ahead and just copy this and add it to our notes section here. Didn't give it fully exactly what I wanted, but pretty darn close. And we're just going to kind of clean this up ever so slightly. Kind of added a few squiggly lines that I didn't want there. For the most part, you're going to go ahead and enter this on your own. So let's just go ahead and clean this up. And this is great practice. All right, now that we're kind of all done, we'll click on OK, and this is exactly what we have. Now that's all done, we're going to go ahead and go to section number 6, and we're going to Microsoft Print to PDF. So we're going to print this out so we have a fantastic plan view for ourselves, our clients, and installers. The best thing to do, and what I highly recommend, is to center and fit to screen every single one of your top views and elevation views so that one picture or one image isn't greater than the other. If I zoomed out and I saved my design, that's what my design is going to look like. If I zoom in, like so, that's what I'm going to see. So let's go ahead, move the split screen right to the middle, and we're going to center every single one of these elevations. To do that, we're going to left click our zoom to fit, and we're going to zoom to fit every single one of our tabs. Elevation 3, zoom to fit, click on the center. Elevation 1, zoom to fit, center, zoom to fit, and center the top view. So now I'm on elevation 1 and the top view. We're going to click on the save button one more time. So we've saved all the colors. We've gone to features and options. We've added in our extra notes. We've centered and zoomed to fit every single one of our elevations. We are ready to go. We are going to click on our file, print. We're going to pretend we're printing this. Instead of sending this to their printer, we're going to PDF this and have a digital image of this. Once the Microsoft Print to PDF is ready to go, range. Current worksheet is defaulted. What that means is elevation 1 and the top view is going to be printed, but we're going to be missing elevation 2 and 3. I'm going to left click all accessed views to select every single one of our tabs, including the current defaulted what we have in place. Now we can label this as whatever we desire. So let's call this, it was going to be the primary closet for Bob as an example, and we'll call this plan view. Let's go ahead and save this naming convention, and we're going to label that exactly as is. We're going to click on save, and now we have our plan view. On my desktop, we're going to go ahead and open that up, and there is my plan view. It started off with elevation 1, elevation 2, elevation 3, and my top view. You can certainly deselect, print every single individual page, and you can reconfigure the pages according to what you desire. Now that it's all done, we can get rid of all our plan views except for this one here. Now it says here, now that we've printed our plan view, we want the cost and sell report. We're going to go into the presentation tab, go into the cost sell report, and export the PDF. Now, what's really cool about the cost and sell report is it gives you a breakdown of every single item that we at Perfect Fit are going to provide to you. I can go ahead and click on my presentation tab, click on quick price. Now, if I select quick price, that'll give me the exact total for the entirety of the design. $4,383.61. Now that just gives you a quick overview of the actual dealer costs. Please don't share that with your client because that is your cost. We still have to add freight to this. So let's go ahead now, click on the reports. Left click our cost and sell report. The quote report is also pretty similar. It kind of groups things together per module, but the cost and sell report is the fantastic report. It gives you every single item from our fasteners to our accessories to our wooden core parts. All right, I've got 3 computer screens, and on my second computer screen, it's populating here, and I'll go ahead and bring that so that everyone can see. And it quickly auto-saved it, so we're going to give that a quick second there to think. Again, auto-saving is your friend. In case a computer crashes, we've got it auto-saved. All right, now that's done auto saving, let's go ahead and bring that cost and sell report in. I've got my cost and sell report. If I go to page number 2, it says here quantity 1 for my 3/4 inch drawer box. It's going to cost me $76.83. It's going to come with 18 dowels at 95 cents total. It's going to come with 3 system pause screws at 11 cents. So again, this is the exact breakdown of every single item. But if I scroll all the way to the very bottom, gives me the exact total what the quick price is, $4,383.65. This report is mandatory, especially when ordering. When we place an order, we have to provide the design kit file as well as this cost and sell report. So I'm going to click on the export. Again, you don't need this right away for your first client. All you need is the quick price, and then you can add your multiplier to it. But as practice, we do need this report for ordering purposes. We're going to click on PDF, and we're going to PDF this. We're going to give it the same naming convention, and let's call it cost and sell report. We're going to click on OK, save it to my desktop, and we're going to move on. The next section is, after the cost sell report, is renders. So we want to go to our perspective view, save all the perspectives as a high resolution image. I'm going to show you just a quick tip. However, we do have extended videos and detailed videos on how to do these things. And number 9 is to add decorations and so forth. So I'm just going to add a few items. We're not going to go ahead and populate everything. We're going to shorten this video down just a little bit there. But to find all these videos, you're going to log into our dealer portal. And in our dealer portal, we're going to just zoom out for ever so slightly there. We're going to click on the training tab, go into our software training. And right here, there's a whole bunch of extra things here in the overview section. In the overview section in the middle column, we've got line-to-line dimensions and how to use the hotkey, adding in our notes, how to get the plan view, which I just showed you, how to grab the cost and sell report, which I just showed you as well. If I go on the right-hand side, it says enhancing your designs, how to use lighting, how to bring appliances and accessories in the designs, and so forth, how to change the wall types and colors. So these are fantastic videos to actually watch. And I'll just show you a quick bit and a few things right now real simply here. To add my lighting, because it's very dark right now, if we take a look at a perspective view, it's very dark. So let's see how we can beautify it with only just a few minor things. You can go at it as elaborate or as simple. You can go as simple as leaving it as is, but let's go ahead and add just a couple items. For my lighting, this is what I prefer. I like to use a local browser. I'm going to click on my local browser and type in Room FUR. That's Room FUR. We're going to double click on our lighting fixtures, and I love using the ceiling light 3-track. Okay, I'm going to use my top view for that. And we're going to left click ceiling track light, drop it in, right click, and I'm going to spin this. Or I can drop it, right click it again, and click on rotate. Okay, so we're going to rotate it like so, right click again, and I can go into my light properties and change the intensity of my design. We'll click on OK, left click, and drag it in. Please make a note what I just did. I dropped it in off screen. Once it's dropped off screen, I can drag and drop it into design. I never drag and drop anything into the design itself. It's always going to be off screen here. Drag and drop it in, go to my light properties, change it to 80 watts, depending on the intensity. We're going to rotate this like so. And now I can left click, drag and drop to my desire. Here's another tip, right click, you can duplicate, drop it in off screen to duplicate, and we already have it ready to go. Just by adding in 3 lighting sections, we can go to my perspective view. And let's see what it looks like. Now that I've added 3-track lighting with lights at 80 watts, it has beautified it immensely. Now we can add a few other decorations. The decorations that I like to use are going to be using my cloud browser. I like using my view tab, and I like to left click my cloud browser. In my cloud browser, on the right hand side, I can select browse, and I can type in a few things. I can type in plants as an example. And in my plants, I can type in and bring in a few plants. If I just type in a couple different plants here, here's my aloe vera plant that I like to use. I can left click, drop it in off screen, and I can drop it wherever I'd like to be. Left click, drop it off screen, and then drag it in. That's my top view. I can certainly use my elevation view to be a little bit more precise. Every time you drag and drop cloud browser items, it will take a little bit of time because obviously it's using a lot of my video card. So please make a note whenever you add decorations, shirts, champagne bottles, coffee makers, and so forth, it does take a little bit of time, and depending on your computer, it might be slower or faster. If I want to type in a bonsai tree, I can left click, drag it off screen, and drop. There's my bonsai tree. I could drag and drop. I can drag and drop it here. Now I'm going to put it right above my countertop. So I'm going to right click, left click, up and down, and go up and down. I can zoom in with my scroll button using my mouse and drop it. I can also see in my top view, that's all the way in the back. So I'm going to right click my plant and we're going to go in and out. Oh, and there's the autosave. We're going to right click my plants. Let's find my plant 40, in and out. And now I can move it ever so slightly. And let's add one t-shirt. Let's keep it at the split screen. Let's type in shirt as an example. And we can go ahead and grab a whole bunch of white shirts. Left click shirts. I can drag and drop. As soon as I see there it is. And there's my shirt, drag it in. Now I can go up and down. And we'll give it a second to calculate and drop. Let's type in one more plant. I love using plants and baskets and so forth. Let's add one more plant and let's see what that looks like to beautify everything. The other plant that I actually like to look at that seems to be quite popular is plant 53. Left click, drag and drop. And you can see my plants on my top view or my elevation view. There it is. I'll use my top view. We're going to rotate this. Now I can left click, drag and drop it like so. We'll use my elevation view. We'll click up and down. And now I can move this with my cursor, or I can tell the program that I want this from the bottom. I want this to be what my install height is going to be at 85 and 3/16. So I can type in 85 space 3/16. We'll click on enter. And now it puts it exactly where I want it to be. Let's go ahead and click on our perspective view. And by adding in just a few decorations, let's see what it looks like. Again, while this is calculating to show everybody, it's in software training and underneath overview, underneath the ordering section, as well as enhancing your designs. There's my perspective view. Let's give it a second to think before I play around with it. We always want 2020 to kind of populate before we do anything. We don't want to force it. So now that it's all done, I can see my plant there, my t-shirt and so forth. And it's almost done rendering. I know when it's done rendering is when I actually have my drawing tools in the very bottom here. Once I see my drawing tools, I know that it's all done rendering and I can keep moving on. And there is my design. Next on the tab list, after we've added decorations, it wants us to place renders. Go into perspective view and save our resolution images. So the easiest thing to do to save your renders is I like to do a elevation view as well as a top view and so forth. So let's go ahead and grab my top view. So to do that, I'll show you just a couple items of how to do that. We won't do it to the full extent, but let's just say that we want this view here. We'll let that think for a moment. Or we can actually bring this down. I'm going to left click and pull that down. We're going to scroll out with my scroll button. And I kind of want that view. I actually love that view. It's a top view. That's a fantastic depiction of it. And I can send this off to my client. To save this, the easy thing to do is click on File, Save As, and High Resolution Image. We'll click on OK. We'll keep it all the default settings. We'll give it a quick moment to render. And again, depending on your video card, the higher your video card, the faster your RAM is, the faster this process will be. We'll label this as Primary Closet for Bob, picture 1. And now let's go ahead and do elevation 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. Here is a tip for you. And again, we can find it more on software training. Underneath our drawing tools, this button here is called your clipping tool. I'm going to left click my clipping tool and I'm going to move my bar ever so slightly to the middle. And now I can go through the wall and through my parts. I can use my plus to zoom in. I like using this button instead of my mouse. This is kind of a little bit more accurate. And I kind of want this image right here. So it shows elevation 1 and 2. We're going to select on File, Save As, High Resolution Image. We're going to click on OK. This is real time. I'm not pausing the video. This is real time, just to give you an idea of how long this is going to take you. Now this is done. We're going to save this as picture number 2 and move on. We're going to move my cursor and my mouse ever so slightly till I find the exact area that I want this to be. Kind of want it right about there. That way it shows the cabinet door, the drawer bank, and so forth. Perfect. That's the exact image that I want. We're going to click on File, Save As, High Resolution Image. We're going to select OK, and we're going to go ahead and save this. And save this as version 3. And we'll get out of our perspective view here. Last but not least, on our instructions, after we've added decorations, going into Room FUR to add our lighting, going to our local browser, cloud browser, and so forth, is our panoramic view. I love using the panoramic view. Panoramic views take anywhere between 5 minutes up to 3 hours, depending on your internet computer speed. Sorry, depending on your internet speed and your computer. So 5 to 3 hours. There are notes right here in the overview on how to use the 360 panoramic viewer and how to produce it. Please indicate or please go to these links if you do want to show it to you. We won't have enough time for this session to actually show you, but there are options to show you the 360 panoramic views. Panoramic views are fantastic. Here's an example of a panoramic view. I'm going to hover over the marketing tab. And in our marketing tab, we have different resolutions. I personally like to use the medium resolution. So let's go ahead and click on a medium resolution tab. And this is an example of a closet that we made using the panoramic viewer. I can go up, down, I can zoom in, zoom out. And this is fantastic and great. The novelty of this is phenomenal. Let's click on another panoramic view just so you can see what a high resolution image looks like. And it's very, very close between a high resolution image versus a medium resolution image. So again, I'm just left clicking, moving it up and down. If your client or if you have an Oculus lens or Google Cardboard lenses, you can send this link right to your phone and you can put up the actual Google Cardboard glasses right up to your face, and it actually seems like you are in virtual reality, and it actually seems like you're right in the room. These are great for large walk-in closets, but not so much for reach-in closets. And that is your practice plan. I hope everybody enjoyed the video, starting from the very start to the very end on how to produce your design, how to produce the plan views, the cost and sell reports to get the costs, and how to add your decorations, your lighting. get your renders, and how to put everything together. If you have any questions at all, please refer back to the dealer portal. There are several very important tabs, such as the product overview, which is very crucial for all our products. Log into the training section underneath software training. And as well, you can always go to the support page. In our support page, you can select our training section here, click on for more training, but we highly advise the support team is your best communication or communicate for everybody in the company. It's a group email. The next available person will certainly answer your question anywhere from freight quotations to design help for training, or you can book an appointment. By booking an appointment, you can open this up, select the desired time and date, enter in your information and the reason for your booking, and you'll be set up with a live person one-on-one screen sharing session, whether it's going to be your computer screen or our computer screen, and we can certainly help you out. So again, that's support@perfectfitcanada.com, but we prefer booking an appointment with us. Thank you very much, and we hope that you find this video very helpful as your design build. Good luck, and give us a call if you have any questions.